Hello everyone. So in this video, let's talk about the energy transfer and electrons transfer in photochemistry, right? So this is the continuation of our photochemistry video series. I hope you have watched our previous videos. Like if you need to get the basics of photochemistry, like what is it, like the basic theorems about the photochemistry, I highly recommend you to go back to our playlist and watch our previous videos. Now in this case, let's move on to the theory. First, let's look at the energy transfer. Here we have the energy transfer. So this is a very simple theorem, very simple trick. What you need to know is a basic transfer of energy. Now let's take two molecules, right? Let's take two molecules. I will denote it as A and D. Okay. Now when energy transfer happens, one molecule must transfer its energy or give its energy to other. Now let's denote our contributing one, or the compound or molecule which transfer energy as donor. This is the donor. That's why I have denoted it as D. Donor. It's the one who give away its energy. Now this one right here, this molecule right here, it's the acceptor. It's the one who gains energy from this donor. Now you need to know is this donor, which the molecule that contributing energy or like giving away its energy, this should be at the excited state, right? This should be at the excited state, so I will denote it as D star. Now this acceptor, it should be at the ground state. When these two molecules collide each other, right, what happens is this donor will transfer its energy towards our acceptor, and what happens to this donor, it has given away its energy, right? So it has come back into its ground state. Now this D molecule, it's on the ground state. Why? They have transferred their energy to the acceptor molecules. Now they don't have excess energy, they have come back into the ground state. Now what happens to our A? It has gained energy, right? So it has excited into the high energy state. So we will denote it as A star. Now this one over here, this is in the excited state. Okay, this one right here, this is on the excited state. So this is the basic theorem or basic concept of this energy transfer. Okay, now there are four ways which this energy transfer can happen. So let's move on to this. The first way, okay, the first way which the energy transfer can happen is like this. Let's say this is our donor. Now you know from our basic photochemistry knowledge, there are two excited states, right? The triplet excited state and the singlet excited state. Let's say our donor over here is in the singlet excited state. So here we have our acceptor. Now when these two are colliding each other and when the energy transfer happen, we have our donor back into the ground state and we have our acceptor in the singlet excited state. Okay, so we call this as singlet energy transfer. Right, we call this as singlet energy transfer. Now what you need to know is when this singlet energy transfer happen, if you look at the reactants and the products, right? So when we move from here to here, the total spin change is 0, right? Delta S is 0. So this is a feasible energy transfer, right? This is a feasible because it has not violated our condition initially, right? So if you remember our basic photochemistry, you will know that the transfer from singlet state to triplet state is forbidden, spin forbidden. We call it as spin forbidden. So I highly recommend you to, like, if you don't know what this spin forbidden or what this spin is, so we have talked about in our previous videos in, I guess, like in the second video, I guess. So you can watch it to get the understanding of these spin states. For now, just you need to know is when you move from singlet state to a triplet state, it's a forbidden transfer. If you're moving from singlet state to singlet state, another singlet state, then it's a allowed transition. Okay, so in this case you can see our total spin is not changed, so this is feasible. Oh, this is an allowed transition, right? This is allowed. I will put it also here, allowed. I put it on the yellow color. This is an allowed transition. Now let's look at the second case. Okay, let's say we have our D over here, which is on the singlet state, and now it's going to be collided with our acceptor. Now we have ground state donor and our excited A, which is on the triplet state. Now what would you think? You can see now our delta is, right, is not 0. Right, our delta is not 0. Total spin change is not 0. So this is a forbidden transfer. This is a forbidden energy transfer. So we call this as forbidden transition. Forbidden energy transfer. This is forbidden. This process is forbidden. And the third way, we have the donor initially, right, which is on the triplet state, and it's going to collide with our acceptor. Now we have the donor and we have the acceptor here with the excited singlet state. I hope now you know, right? You can see now we are going from triplet state to singlet state. There's a total spin change. So delta S is not 0, it's 1. Now this is again a forbidden. This is a forbidden. Now the final one we have the donor, which is on the triplet state, and we have the acceptor. Now we have our donor on the ground state, and then we have the acceptor on the triplet state. Now you can see our delta S is 0. Total spin change, look at this. The total spin change is 0. So that's why we call this as allowed transition. This is an allowed transition. So if you're wondering, like when it comes to ground state, right, we have to talk about this. In this case, this is on the ground state, right? That's the only singlet state in the ground state, right? There are no triplet state in the ground state, so that's why we are not denoting anything on here. So I hope you get the idea. So this is the basics of like the energy transfer, what you need to know about the energy transfer when it comes to photochemistry, right? So I hope you get the idea. If you have any problems, please feel free to comment below. I will try my best to answer those questions. So in the next video, we will talk about the electron transfer, which is another fascinating thing. Little bit different from the energy transfer, but it's a fun. So we will meet up in our next video from the electron transfer.